Welcome to this video tutorial about classic orthophoto production and including bridges into the orthophoto. In this dataset here, I extracted for a small area a feature-based matching with match T, and we can see here for this area we have overlap of the two strips here. We have a 60-60 flight for this part here, but this would also work when you have an 80-40 flight for the bridge, depending where your bridge is located, of course. But just for our example here, we use the demo data that you can download from our webpage. Let's shortly take a look at the situation here in the stereo model. We can see here a bridge. And when we activate the contour lines, we can see that the contours are here not purely going just on the ground, they are going on top of the bridge and up and down. And also when we look at the profile view for this area here, we can see that this is not here straight going through the water, but we have here points up and down everywhere. What we want to have is a digital terrain model that goes purely just on the ground, which means for us here along the water body on the ground, below the bridge, and then of course on the left and right shore side, we want to have the points straight on it. A very common way is to measure here break lines, and I will load a dataset that I already prepared for this area, showing here with break lines how we can represent this terrain. Here we go. We have here break lines representing the water body part, and also here the upper break line where the street again starts. Taking a look at the profile view for this part, we can now see here how the points are going along the water body here on the ground, and also we have here the upper break line where the terrain continues. Unfortunately for the bridge, this terrain model would cause a misplacement for our orthophoto for the bridge. In the orthophoto, we will then see the bridge going down into the water body area and going up again. So let's take a look at the orthophoto, and perhaps we don't see it immediately, but this here border of the street is a straight line normally, but because my terrain goes down here and here again up, this gets here a change. Same thing on this one here. This one here gets curved around, and it should not look this way, it should look this way. So this is the real part, and this is how the wrong classic orthophoto is generating the bridge, so misplaced. To make our bridge geometrically correct, we need to add additionally data to our current terrain model, and this is now a true ortho polygon that we need to add. I already digitized it here, so I want to display it here. I will increase the height part so we see it a little bit better. And you see here the bridge is crossing this part. The shape of the bridge looks strange because we see here a little bit some height change on the bridge itself, and the reason is the traffic barrier or the guardrails, because they are on top of the bridge. When we take a look here at my misplacement, we can see here the traffic barrier, and if we do not measure the bridge on the height of the traffic barrier, then the auto rectification will cause some trouble. I can show it here. Then this traffic barrier here on the other side will not be correctly seen from OrthoMaster and then misplaced. And therefore we want to measure the traffic barrier correctly so that this will not be the case, so that the pixels of the traffic barrier are also part of our bridge. Secondly, we want that the bridge polygon, or this true ortho object shape, ends up at the platform of our terrain model. So when we take a look here, we want that this polygon here ends up again on top of the DTM. Same thing here on the other side. We want to end this polygon also on the surface itself. So when we look here on the shading, so this is now here ending nicely on top, and here also ending nicely on top. And this is all we need. We need our points, our break lines, and our object shape, and we can feed this into DTM Toolkit, and I will just show how this can be done. We close DTMaster, and then from Applications Master I start the DTM Toolkit from Capture. Here we will start the point cloud processing option from the DTM Toolkit. So point vector data processing, and we will generate a surface model. And then we can add here all the data that we have already created from MatchT and from DTMaster, our break lines and the object shapes. So I load the DTM, then I load the morphological data, we call it in this case here, with the traffic barrier included and the break lines. And then we can here create a new DTM model, which is stored in the scope format. So I will just store here a new folder here, my scope DTM with bridge information, just that we find it again. And then we add our information. So we stored our data from DTMaster as a DXF file. I didn't show this, but you can export from DTMaster your data into DXF, and they are then in different layers. So here I measured these break lines from the water body. They are the break lines. So I just add them here into, wait, I make it simpler here. The break lines into break lines, and the true ortho lines as object shapes here into object shapes, and that's it. And then we define for our interpolated DTM, which includes our break lines in the bridge. I will show this. I will make a 1 meter DTM, and I leave the other parameters, and then we start the process, and then we get as a final result the scope DTM into our output folder. I will just load this again into DTMaster so that you see how it looks like. Normally we would now directly go into OrthoMaster, but in DTMaster I will then import the data. In DTMaster I can then say import, quick load, and then I just load here this DTM. And this one includes everything. It includes the points that I generated, which is here green. It includes our water body parts. I'll show them here in, sorry, here in red. And also our bridge information here is included. Don't know if this is then which color I have to change. Let's see. Okay, they're all of the same. Okay, so very important for us is what also changed, we didn't see this in this part, is that because we defined this polygon here as a bridge in DTM Toolkit, the points have been elevated. Let's take a look here so we can see it. And now we see these points are not anymore on the ground. Yeah, before the points were here lying on the ground, but they have been lifted to the bridge. And additionally, this line that was measured on top of the bridge was dropped on the ground. Yeah, so we have here now a line going along the body and one line going still along the bridge, including our traffic barrier. And this is now a great model which we can use in OrthoMaster to make for this area a true orthophoto. And I will just showcase this as the last part so that we see how we can use now this information to create orthophotos, including the bridge. So I close DTMaster I won't save it here. I go into OrthoMaster, which is at imaging, OrthoMaster. Then in OrthoMaster we can import our generated SCOP DTM model, which is then including exactly these informations that we have just shown. We stored it in SCOP DTM with bridge DTM. Here's our model, and then we have our DTM, which is just here a small area here in the upper right corner. And we need to define our ortho areas. And for the generation of ortho areas, because we want to see the bridge from different locations, because the non-visible areas, they will be filled with black pixels, we want to enhance the overlap here to 200%, so we get a large area for each aerial image as an orthophoto area. If you only have a few bridges, then you could of course also generate just for the whole area your standard settings of 30% perhaps of overlap, and then take only the photos that are influencing and then manually change them. So you can go into the orthophoto area itself, and then here you have the option to change the ortho areas and enhance them. So I could then say, okay, I want to see here a larger portion of this orthophoto, or in this case perhaps when I see, okay, there's my bridge, but it could also be seen from this photo. At the moment we cannot see it, so I can here enhance the area and say, okay, I want to include this bridge here into this part. So we can edit the area by ortho area editing, and then we can here grab either the line and extend the line here and include this part, or you really measure it completely new. You say, okay, I want to here add the whole area and define it here as a new area. And the same would also be possible, of course, with a polygon, where you drag then the polygon here around. And so this bridge is now also part of the of these photos here. So you can manually change single areas from photos, and so you would not have to expand for each orthophoto the area, but just for the ones that consider the bridge inside it. For my case here, I will just run it for all the photos because it's not large, and I will create here my 200%, and then I can now start to process. And in the process itself, I need to take care for the processing option in the computation, but let's start from left. I will here create 10 centimeter orthophotos and stick with the standard settings here. I will output my solution here into our part. And create here a folder for my bridge. And in the computation, I will now here check for visibility with a high accuracy, and I will then need for my data to enlarge the occluded area by 1 pixel. I will switch this on here. I will showcase you now here. I processed this already without this 1 pixel. And this looked then like this one here. You see the bridge is now already with the traffic barrier correct, but I had a slight pixel range that was not correctly auto-rectified. And so because my polygon that I measured was nice, it was good measured, but not perfectly well. And so I used in OrthoMaster this enlarge occluded area. And so I could add this additional pixel to it, and that's what got me here the correct result for my bridge, which is now straight, compared in this case, perhaps you remember, to our first one, which is this one here, where the bridge was misplaced. So we see it here, it goes here straight over the water body, and here it goes through the valley of the water body. And that's it. Then we would then run on OrthoMaster with this setting and hit the run button, And that's it, what you need to create Orthophotos in a standard setting, but adding bridges as information for correct georeferencing. Okay, thank you for watching this video tutorial. Goodbye.